Hello and welcome to Wizard World Virtual Experiences. I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics. We are streaming to you live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, bringing you that Comic-Con life to the comfort of your home with these free, that's right, free celebrity panels, in addition to paid exclusive experiences, including one-on-one private video chats, custom recorded messages, and autographs, including this wonderful guest that we've got today, on sale at wizardworldvirtual.com. Those are always on sale and will continue to be so throughout the week. So even if you're watching a replay, definitely check out these once-in-a-lifetime experiences with your favorite celebs. Also, don't forget to check out the signed memorabilia and works of art from our favorite artists and vendors from previous virtual experiences and physical conventions at wizardworldvault.com. It is my pleasure now to bring to this virtual stage reality TV star turned pop cultural icon, Omarosa. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Why, hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I was hoping and hoping. I was wondering who my host is going to be. I hope it's Victor. And then, boom, it's Victor.
Thank you so very much for that.
Surprise.
Yes,
Hi.
indeed. You look fabulous. I got to give you that compliment off the rip. Absolutely gorgeous. I got to know, how has 2020 been for you so far? It's been a crazy year for most. How are you doing?
You know, 2020 started out fantastic. I was training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro this year.
Wow.
And I've been training for 6-7 months, and we were all prepared to go in April. But then in March, you know, COVID hit. Right. And I was climbing because my girlfriend was diagnosed with cancer. She beat it. We were going to celebrate it by making it to the summit. And then boom, COVID. So I continue to train. That's the only thing that kind of got me through that quarantine time. But it's been a little tough, you know, just being isolated from everyone. And that's why I was so excited about Wizard World. I miss connecting with my fans. I miss talking to folks. I miss the autograph signings, the sessions. I miss the engagement. That's why this is just so wonderful that we can reconnect with people all over the world through this platform.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm so glad that you signed on to do this. Because literally when you say all over the world, you're not even joking. We've got folks from Louisiana, Israel, like we got all kinds of folks that are tuning in right now. Okay, so for everyone that is a fan of yours, we got to know, what's the average day like for you? What happens when you get up in the morning? What all do you do?
You know, this morning, well, I shouldn't call it morning, it's actually their night, but I had to pre-tape. I'm doing work internationally, correspondence work. You know, my background is in journalism. And so I get to work with news organizations all over the world. And so this morning it was Australia. Tomorrow I'll be doing some work in London and the UK. But I'm global as well. And I am so blessed that I get an opportunity to talk with people and to do the work that I love to do with folks from all over the world.
Oh my God, I love that. That's got to be so exciting when every day is an adventure and you don't know exactly what you're going to get into. It's got to wake you up with a jump, right?
Yes, it does wake you up. And then, of course, I'm working on the second book, a follow up to Unhinged, maybe Unhinged 2. We haven't titled it yet, but that would be a good title if you can kind of keep watching what's happening. But
Absolutely.
this will be my fourth book. So I'm excited
Wow.
to continue to work on that project as
Okay,
well.
we are definitely going to talk about that, but I kind of got to take a little personal stint. I'm from Ohio. You're from Ohio, specifically Youngstown, which is great city. Okay, I gotta ask. This is a very silly pop cultural thing. Being from Youngstown, have you ever been to Crystal Lake?
I have to, Crystal.
Okay,
I
because I
can't believe
mean,
you asked me that. I
of
would thought you were going to say
course.
Mill Creek Park,
No, 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 no. We're gonna
Idora
make
Park.
we're gonna go super pop culture. Obviously, the locale of the Friday the 13th movies, which most people don't even know takes place in Ohio. And it's
No,
like,
they don't know, but some folks will know that, and they'll ask me and say, "Oh, did you ever see anything, or did you know?" And it's just kind of funny, but
it's always hilarious. That's definitely on my bucket list of places to visit as a horror fan. Are you a horror fan? Do you like horror movies?
yes, I actually did a horror film
Talk
a
to me,
couple of years back. It was called Knock 'em Dead, and it's of
right?
course available on like iTunes and Netflix and that sort of thing. But I always wondered about the people in the horror films that go towards that scary sound or go into the dark
Why
shed
do
with
they
the
do that?
I was the person that did that. I was the girl that was like, "Who's there? What is that? Please come out, whoever you are." And I don't want to ruin it if folks haven't seen it, but
Right,
you know
right.
what happens to the person that goes looking for the
Generally.
strange sound in the cornfield in the middle of the night.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, Knock 'em Dead. I did that movie. It was so fun, and that was my entree into horror films.
Oh my God, would you do it again?
Of course, I
Okay.
loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love when people come up and say, "I saw you in Knock 'em Dead," particularly during quarantine when people
Yes.
got to kind of binge watch all these shows over and over again. And I'm excited to tell you that I did Girlfriends. That
Yes.
was a show that was on years ago with Tracy
That's the
Ellis Ross,
jam.
and it's coming on Netflix. So you'll get to see my
I love
episodes.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Now, I would say, on the national collective, global collective, you broke out on the scene through the first season of The Apprentice, and
Yes.
arguably second most, famous person from that show.
But
What
Vicar,
would you?
don't tell them how long ago that was.
I
I
will
want them to
never.
think it was
I
like
mean,
yesterday.
because I mean, between me and you look like it was, so that totally works.
Thank
Um,
you.
so,
Thank you.
so what did that show get right about its portrayal of you? Because I think that's so very important. We don't necessarily know you; we know a portrayal. What did they get right?
That's such a great question. I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me that. What they got right is that I'm extremely strategic.
Hmm.
Like if I go into a negotiation, I go into a boardroom, I'm tough but fair,
Hmm.
and I like to win. That's what they got right about me. I am an athlete. I played college ball. I love to compete. The mistake I made, however, was thinking that people will keep in mind that The Apprentice was exactly that. It was a competition, a game show.
Right?
Some people thought it was real life. And so as you're competing, people are like, "Well, why did you do that? And why did you make that decision? And why did you turn on that person?" And I'm thinking, you do realize there was only like one person that was able to win the grand
The whole
prize.
thing, right? And I aim for that person to be me. I get
I,
this.
I wanted I wanted it to be me, but what they got right was that I'm very smart, um, you know, very, very strategic how I approach things.
Hmm.
And I wanted to be the last woman standing.
I love it. I love it. And to look at it this way, I mean, from businesswoman, reality TV star, political liaison to author, I think one word sums you up perfectly, and that's ambitious. Is that a natural
Oh.
trait, or is that something that kind of develops along the way?
Yeah, I would throw ambitious in there. There are a lot of other adjectives you can throw in there, but ambitious is definitely in there. Tenacious,
Oh, yes, definitely.
bold, daring, all those things are thrown in there, fearless.
Absolutely. Well, because I mean, based on what we've seen of your career so far, you always seem to know how to manage being in the room. It's one thing to be in the room. It's another thing to recognize the opportunities. And I think that's something that's so very important. How did you develop that skill to recognize what you need to do wherever you are?
Now, that question it's important, particularly in this day and age. When I started in reality TV, I mean, everyone knows Apprentice. We showed up in 2003. There just weren't a lot of women, particularly Black women,
Right.
in the business doing what I do, and so being the first was a good thing, but it was also very tough.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I realized very early on, Victor, was the currency of show business. And the currency of show business is ratings.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, all the industry cares about is ratings, clicks, views, eyeballs, that sort of thing. And so,
Right.
very early on in my television career, I understood, I learned, and I embraced that idea that you have to get people to watch.
Right.
And I believe that that really is the secret to my longevity. People, they enjoy watching me on the shows that I've done. And
Of
I was trying to think
course.
of the number. I think I've done something like 60 or 70 shows in the
Wow.
last, 18 years.
That
Yeah.
is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, how does the transition from being on a show like The Apprentice translate to being on a show like Big Brother? Nicole, especially, who's listening in, wants to hear about that one.
Hi, Nicole. I absolutely, when Big Brother first came on, this is a confession.
Okay.
When Big Brother first aired, I thought, what a brilliant show. Because I always wanted to do Survivor, but I didn't want to do outdoors, right? And so when Big Brother came on, I'm like, this is like
Be
Survivor,
inside.
but you get to be inside. Sign me up. And so I did a show called You're Cut Off with Allison, with the producer of Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you ever do the celebrity version of Big Brother, sign me up.
Boom.
And sure enough, he decided to do a season of Celebrity Big Brother, and I was one of the first that they called. But when you ask about how it translates, it's so much more difficult
Really?
because on The Apprentice, you could kind of be tough, and you could go here, you could calculate. On Big Brother, you gotta go to, you share the shower with these folks, you share the bathroom with these
Oh,
folks, you make
wow.
meals with them, you do laundry with them. It's
Right?
24/7. And so if you leave the room to go and take your load of clothes out of the dryer, the game can change. And so often I found myself on Big Brother not wanting to get up and do the basic necessities of
Right.
life, right? I didn't want to go and have a meal. There were so many times in Big Brother that I just skipped a meal completely because the
Wow.
game was unfolding and I didn't want to leave the room.
Didn't
So
want to miss
that's
a
kind of
thing.
Nicole, that's a great question. That's how it was so much different than The Apprentice, where you did have a bit more space, where you
Mm-hmm.
kind of had to run off and go across New York to do this, or on the other side of the city to do that. In Big Brother, it's the living room, dining room, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. That's it. There's
Wow.
nowhere else to go.
That's your place. It's almost like a cage. That's incredible. Oh my God. So Chris Ritchie says, number one, you are beautiful. Cosign.
Oh, thanks,
Loved you in both
Chris.
Big Brother and The Apprentice, but I guess you kind of answered which show was more stressful. So it sounds like because you could never quite escape Big Brother, that was really kind of a little bit more stressful. Is that right?
No, that first season of The Apprentice was
Really?
really, really tough. I mean, I was in my 20s when I did it. I was running around New York with 5-inch Jimmy Choos on. What was I thinking, right? Trying to
Fabulous. That's
catch
what you were
subways,
thinking.
trying to catch subways and taxis. And
Right?
Mark Burnett, the executive producer and creator of The Apprentice, he just had such a demand on us. I mean, it really was a difficult season to
Wow.
be a part of because they had never done The Apprentice. And so, yeah, they're like, oh, get across town and negotiate with Planet Hollywood and then go to Sotheby's. And as you know, with New York traffic, it's not that easy to
No,
get across town.
no.
And the logistics were very, very tough. But I just remember being so exhausted, and always on every one of these shows, I miss my family. But that first season, the first time I was away from my family
Right.
for 39 days and I hadn't talked to them at all, that was the first time in my entire career that I went that long without talking to my loved ones. So that was tough.
Oh my goodness, that's insane. Oh my God. Now, speaking of family, like how do they respond to the acclaim that you have? Do they try to, maintain a sense of anonymity, or do they celebrate as I probably would, like, no, Omarosa, that's my cousin. I love her. What do they do?
This is going to make you laugh, Victor, but in my town of
Mhm.
Youngstown, Ohio, before The Apprentice, I was famous. I was Miss Youngstown.
Oh,
I
Sept.
competed in the Miss America system. I went to Miss Ohio and competed. And so for my family, that was such a big deal. I was on the news. I was on the front page of the newspaper. For my family, I was already famous
I love
before The
it.
Apprentice. For my community, they were used to seeing me in the newspaper and on television and all the things that I was doing. So I don't know, I think after, 17, 18 years, they're just like, yeah, get the picture now so we can finish eating.
Yes, yes, she's awesome. We know, we know. No, that's a wonderful thing though. When you have that base, it's always great because it allows you to expand, and that's perfect. We did have a question.
Mhm.
Sean wants to know about your time on the show, The Surreal Life. Did you enjoy all of that?
Oh,
Yes, there's.
Sean.
I know,
Oh,
right?
I loved Surreal Life. Let me tell you who was so interesting on this Real Life.
Bring it on.
Jose Canseco. I
Really?
love the athletes. Whenever I do these celebrity shows, it's the athletes that I just kind of love, love, love. And Jose Canseco was on that show. He was the best, housemate you could have.
Right.
He let us polish his nails. He let us put facial stuff on him. He was such a trooper, when you're kind of, again, locked up in the house and bored.
Right.
Jose would let us do absolutely anything we wanted to him. He
Oh
was
my
great.
gosh.
And he had a twin brother named Josie, and they
Wow.
pulled a trick on us on some real life.
That's
Yeah, his twin
amazing.
brother showed up to an event that we were doing, and he started talking to us like he was Jose. He has an
Oh my
identical
God.
twin brother.
That is brilliant. You know what? I would use
Hmm.
that in the game actually. Like I would just try to have my brother jump on a base and be like, "Wait, you were?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm here. I don't know what you're talking about." Oh my gosh. We've got Gulia from Brazil asked, "What's the favorite
Oh.
place that you have traveled due to your professional life?" That's a great question.
Oh, it is such a great question. Oh, I've had a chance to go all around the world. There's been versions of The Apprentice all
It's
over
amazing.
the world, in addition to Big Brother. But I had a chance to go to the set of Big Brother Africa in
Wow.
Nigeria. That was fantastic because Africa loves Big Brother.
Oh, that's
A-
fantastic.
And when I tell you they love it, they love it. And I also had a chance just recently to go and speak at Cambridge and at Oxford.
Okay.
And that was phenomenal. But I loved going to just kind of visit the other sets of reality shows in other countries.
I love that. I love that. Now, I mean, obviously, you roll in some amazing circles to have earned this spot. What is more important to you, being lucky or being prepared?
Well, the truth is, in reality, you need a little luck.
Of
You know,
course, of course.
you can be as prepared as you think. I mean, you can be so prepared, but nothing, and I do mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for hanging on a wall next to Meta World Peace in the Big Brother house. I mean, Meta has to be like 300 pounds. Every time he shifted, Victor, he moved the wall. And I'm
Wow.
trying to hold on for dear life because I needed that HOH. And Meta World Peace, Lakers legend, is
Right?
moving, shifting,
Oh
making
my
the wall.
gosh.
And I mean, whenever would you have an experience like that? Or being on The Apprentice with Nadia Comaneci, the perfect 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had such amazing opportunities to encounter people who are just really the salt of the earth. And I'm very fortunate. I don't take any of that for granted.
I love that. Have you been able to
I have a
cultivate?
surprise for you.
Oh, 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 oh. Do you have a
I have a
guest?
visitor. Yeah. Dookie wants to say
Oh,
hi.
hello, Duke. How are you?
This
Oh,
is my puppy.
so beautiful. So
Duke,
beautiful. Oh my
no
gosh. I
kisses.
love
Say
it. I
hi.
love it.
That's Duke,
Hi.
my dachshund.
Hi, Duke.
He just wanted to say hi, Victor. I know you love dogs.
Absolutely gorgeous, and I do love dogs. It's kind of ridiculous, but I do. I can't lie about that. That's so real. Okay, so getting back to some of the things that you've done. Again, the powerful folks that you've met, walked into the room with. but you stay so grounded. How do you do that? How do you not lose yourself to the world that you live in? How?
Well, the first thing that you realize is that when all the cameras stop rolling, when all the decisions and the meetings are over, you have to go back to a place where people love you and celebrate you. And I have been so blessed in my life to always have a foundation that's
Mm-hmm.
built with family who loves me, who embrace me, who celebrate, who nurtures me. When the world beats you up, you go home and they help you to
Of
kind of
course.
to heal. And so my mother, I love her. In fact, that's her artwork right
Oh,
there.
that's
My
beautiful.
mother, the artist.
Okay.
Um, my husband, my wonderful husband, who is just, he is so unaffected by it at all. It's great. And I have a huge family in Ohio. My mother is the oldest girl of 10 children.
Oh,
I have
yes.
62 first cousins. I have 47 second cousins. I have a massive family
I
and I
love it.
just love them all. And they send me such positive messages whenever they see my work or see something I'm doing. And I love it. I just eat it all up.
I love that. Oh my God, you rep them well, and it's fantastic. Okay, so we obviously have to talk about your book just a little bit because it's so very
Yes.
important. Unhinged,
So
New
which
York.
book?
I mean,
Oh,
we'll talk about
Unhinged.
Unhinged. We'll talk about Unhinged. New York Times
Okay.
bestseller. It's available through our sales platform, so you guys definitely want to get that. I believe you're offering to sign some too. Is that
I
right?
am. I'm offering to
Oh
sign
yeah, we
it
need
with
that.
special messages.
Definitely need that. This one's from Gallery Publishing Group, and it's a testament to your prominence again being in the room. How important was it for you to weigh in on your experience with the current administration to kind of say, this was my perspective?
Well, Victor, so many people who are watching now, they watched my journey,
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning, and they watched me start out on The Apprentice with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think that I could have ever imagined in a million years that the host of a reality show, of the reality show I was a part of, would become
Right.
president of the United States. But that's what happened, and that's a part of my life story. And I wanted to talk about that incredible journey. But I don't just start in the boardroom because my life didn't
Right.
start just on Fifth Avenue, obviously. I grew up in Westlake Projects. I talk about my father's murder. I talk about my brother's murder. I talk about
Mm-hmm.
all of these things that I went through and what brought me to that moment, where my life did change. And so, yes, I have had an incredible opportunity to work first for the Clinton White House. And that was back in 19 and no, 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 no.
Yes,
And
yes.
then fast forward 20 years later, I get to work in another administration. And anytime you get to serve your country
Mm-hmm.
in the way that I have, I think that's important to do. But the stories, the things that I observed
Mm-hmm.
during my time of service to this country, man, I had to put
Of
them on
course.
paper. I had to
Yes,
share them.
yes.
And I had to kind of pull the curtain back. Everybody wants to know, what is it like on Air Force One? What
Right.
is it like in the Oval Office? What is it like when you're at the UN, representing the country? And I wanted people to know what that's like. And what it's like to interact with Donald Trump. They watched us on a reality show. I think, out of fairness, that they needed to know the full story
Of course. Of
of
course.
how I ended up for the second time back in the White House serving the 45th president of the United States.
Of
And
course.
so that's really what Unhinged was about, sharing.
I like that. I like that. And out of respect for the, current administration and the presidential upcoming election, we're not going to focus on that part. What I want to know is, as a pseudo civilian, what were some of your favorite experiences in either, administration? Like, what did you get to do that so many of us would never have known about?
I love whenever I'm on Air Force One, and this was in the Clinton White House or in the Trump White House.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love calling my family and friends from
Guess
when
where I'm
you're
at?
like flying in over Ohio. And it happened. I got to call my family flying over
That's amazing.
Ohio. And the operator says, "Hello, this is Air Force One. I have a call from Omarosa, Newman." And your family's like, "Are you serious?" I think my cousin Darian even said, "Are you serious? Like, is this really Air Force One?" I'm going to tell you,
Yes,
that's one
that's
of my
right.
favorite things ever. I absolutely love that. There's the other side of it, the very serious side, which is, looking at the entire budget,
Mm-hmm.
the operating budget for this country, and being able to sit there with a pen and going line by line with issues that are important to you, saying, no, we do need to give more money for faith-based organizations or for historically Black colleges and universities,
Right.
$500 million here, 2 billion there, $1 trillion there. Those are figures and numbers that I know that most people never get a chance to operate in. And so to negotiate, millions and millions of dollars for causes that are important and near dear to my heart, I think that it was a privilege that's not offered to many.
Oh my God, please say that one more time because people need to know that this is an experience that you are sharing with everyone. Since you did mention, historically Black colleges, you went to Howard. Shout out to that.
HU.
Hello. What was that like? And how amazing of a legacy has Howard created unto itself and that you are maintaining?
So now the graduates of the other schools that I've attended, they
Mhm.
always get so mad at me because I don't give a shout out to them.
I'm
So
sorry.
before I talk
Let's give them
about
some
the
time.
Mecca,
Yes.
I attended Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, where I was an athlete. I played on the volleyball team. I was a radio personality, and I was Miss Central State. And so I have to give homage first and foremost
Yes.
to the fighting marauders of Central State University. I also have to give a shout out to Florida State College at Jacksonville, where I studied since I moved here. And of course, to Ashland Seminary,
Of
where I've
course.
done my theological work. Now, back to Howard University.
That's right.
I graduated from Central, and the way I got to the White House, the way I got to work in the White House is because I moved from Ohio and I got to move to DC and to do my master's and doctoral studies at Howard University. And
Brilliant.
Howard University is just a couple of miles away from the White House. And so when I would tell my professors, I'm going to work in the White House, they're like, sure,
Of
absolutely. It's
course.
not a, and other schools, it might be an impossible thought, but
Right.
at Howard University, not a hard thing. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for my experience. I spent master's doctorate. I spent about 7.5 years studying at Howard
Wow.
University. And that's why I often talk about it so much because they were formative years for me.
Of
I've
course.
also taught at Howard University. I taught there for 7 years. I'm an adjunct professor at Howard University School of Business. And so, yes, Howard University is near and dear to my heart. And shout out to Senator Kamala Harris, who also is a very proud graduate
Yes,
of
yes.
Howard University.
Yes, indeed. Now, to kind of bring things down just a little bit, we also recently lost Chadwick Boseman,
Chadwick,
who,
I was just thinking about it. I just didn't want to.
yes,
I didn't want to break people's
I
heart,
I
but
know, but did you ever get to meet
what a
him?
great loss. Yes. In fact, let me just tell you how random.
Yes.
One of my classmates reminded me of when we got to hang out with him when I was on the yard. This is before I was, Omarosa. And then fast forward, I was on a red carpet for another event in Hollywood and ran into Chadwick. And the way we greet each other, if you're a bison, is a simple HU. And somebody was walking past me and he said, HU. And I said, and I was like, oh my gosh. But when I heard the news that of his passing, I was
Yes,
really sad.
I
I
can
was
totally
really, really
understand.
sad.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, and I'm sure there's a simpatico that many of us won't understand because we didn't have the same circles or attend the same events like that. So
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly sharing in your loss there. But I do think that he did represent something fantastic, and I do think that there's a lot of what you're doing that will carry that on as well, in his
Oh, thank you
honor
for
as
saying
well as
that.
building on your own, of course.
Wow. I hope
Um,
so because he really did represent, and he's the embodiment of a graduate of an HBCU, that never
yes.
give up spirit. So, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, so we've got a couple more questions that are coming in, and really they're sensitive questions. So I want to be very strategic about how to ask it. When it comes to some of the people that you famously come into competition with, how do you maintain your sense of positivity in spite of all that?
Competition. I feel bad for the people who have to compete because I think people underestimate just how incredibly competitive I am.
Right?
And I always think going into these competitive reality shows, particularly, that people are just as competitive as me. And I've come to learn that that's not the case,
Not
Victor.
necessarily there. Not there.
Not the same level. You know, I I always tell people, I hope that we can be friends after this, but in the middle of competition, I'm a whole different person.
Of course.
But that's why I love the athletes because the athletes who I have been on the show with, like Lennox Lewis, you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about an
Mm-hmm.
athlete,
Mm-hmm.
he not sensitive, very competitive, outgoing. Jenny Finch, right? She was a softball player,
Right.
Olympic softball player, competitive. With Dennis Rodman,
I mean, it's Dennis. Come on. Come on.
I
You
mean,
know,
I love competing with athletes. And so my competitive nature is right at home
I
with
love
those
it.
athletes. But oftentimes, like I said, people sign up for shows, and particularly with me, and they just don't realize how competitive I am. Although I've gotten better. I've gotten better as I've gotten older.
Better as in you're more, you'll get them quicker, or better as in I won't try to take you out right away. I'll wait a little bit.
Thank you, Victor, for
I
saying it
got
so
you.
much more eloquently. Like on Big Brother, there were so many times where I realized that if I won that competition, then it would put a bigger target on my back. So
Got you.
I had to throw some of those competitions. I mean, some of them people were like, "It's so obvious." I'm an avid golfer, and I kept
Right.
missing, a simple putt. And everybody knows I've been golfing since I was 13 years old. But I knew that if I won very early, I would be eliminated very early.
Right.
So now
See,
as I'm older, I recognize, you got to
yes,
think,
yes, yes. Playing the game isn't always just playing the game. I totally get that.
right.
And that's,
You're
yes,
right.
absolutely genius. Okay, so as we are getting into some of our last questions, I got to know, like, what exactly are you looking forward to coming out of, 2020 and the things that are on the horizon for you?
Oh, I want to get back to traveling.
Yes.
I wasn't kidding when I started this. I miss interacting with my fan base. I miss talking with people. I miss the hugs. I miss just the face to face. I can't wait to get back on the road. I had 27 speeches that,
Wow.
had to be canceled, obviously, for COVID. And
Right.
they were all over the globe, and I was just so looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to just reconnecting with people. And hopefully,
Hmm.
when I'm on my next book tour, I'll get to do that, or my next project, which I can't announce here, but but I'll get to, interact with folks on a face-to-face basis. I hope that we get to a point where COVID no longer separates us,
Of course.
that we can get back to just being in close proximity without the anxiety that comes with this pandemic.
Well said. Well said. Now, to get a little bit to build it up a little bit more, I gotta go there. Obviously there are some young Black ladies that are watching, young Black girls that are looking upon you as inspiration, potential leadership,
Mhm.
role model. What's something that you want to share with them? I know my daughter's watching in the other room, my brother Mike Watson, his family is watching, so
Hi,
yeah, what can
Mike.
we share, with them?
I just want to say that no matter what the world throws at you, I have to tell you that you are equipped for whatever challenges, whatever obstacles, you are equipped. You have to know that you are enough, that you have the strength and the tenacity to conquer any of those things that come into your path. You have to be determined to overcome them, never look back, and never, ever, ever allow people to put you in a box. You're bigger than that. You're brighter than that. You're bolder than that. And you can, in fact, make a mark on this world if you follow your path and answer your calling.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I know you said seminary school, but I'm ready to pass the collection plate right now.
That's
Okay.
from the heart, Victor. That's from the
Listen,
heart.
listen, listen. I needed an organ in the background right now. I needed that. Woo!
Victor, I grew up in the projects, and because we were on welfare and because we lived in public housing, people tried to put labels on me
Of
and
course.
put me in these boxes and tell me that because, after my father died, my mother was a single mom, you're never going to go anywhere. You're never going to do
Wow.
anything. I, had a learning disability. I had to overcome dyslexia and slow reading and all of these things. And they kept saying, you're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not skinny enough, tall enough. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a living witness. My life is an example that you can overcome these obstacles, that those labels do not have to define who you
Mm-hmm.
are or whose you are.
Ooh,
You determine for yourself, how high and how far you can go. And I am a witness of that, Victor.
absolutely. Without question. Whoo, okay. On that note, like I'm gonna just go ahead and cut it off on this highness, because that was beautifully said. Definitely heartfelt.
Oh,
I
thank you,
thoroughly
Victor.
appreciate that.
But I
And
want to
again,
say, I really want to hear from the fans. I have to tell you, I miss you all so, so, so much. I want to chat with you. I want to talk with you. I want to send you all the goodies. I want you to send me all your goodies. I want to know how you're surviving
that's
through
right.
COVID, how you're holding up through this quarantine and this isolation. So I'm so grateful to Kathy, to Wizard World, to the entire team for allowing us to connect with our fans in this way. I think it's so important. And because we care about what's happening with folks, this is a great platform to do that. So I'm thankful and
Absolutely.
I can't wait to chat with you guys.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, for all you fans that are watching, the fun does not have to end now. Please don't forget that there are paid exclusive experiences, one-on-one video chats, autographs, custom recorded messages that you guys can grab at wizardworldvirtual.com, that will just add to this entire conversation. Omarosa, thank
Mhm.
you so, so very much for sharing your time, your light, your talent with all of us. This has been truly an inspiring conversation. One last thing that you want to say to the fans before you go?
I just really want to say thank you for going on this journey with me for the last, 18 years. There's been ups and downs, but you have never left me, and I can never thank you enough for that. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Like, once again, I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest
Oh,
working
and
man in
follow
comics.
me.
Oh,
Wait, wait,
yeah.
wait,
Oh, yes,
Victor.
yes.
My
Social.
handle on
All of it.
Twitter, at Omarosa on Twitter, at Omarosa on Instagram, at Omarosa on Facebook, at Omarosa on Snapchat. I'm at Omarosa. I
That's
think you
right.
guys have figured that.
Listen. What I think is so amazing is that you have like totally captured the public psyche so well that one word, one name is all you need. And
Oh,
honestly, I think it's one of the most important, names in pop culture. So thank you so very much again for
thank you.
joining us today. Thanks you to Wizard World for bringing us together. This has been an absolute
Bye.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.